Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to this edition of your podcast, Sickle Cell Role Models and Mentors, with me, Ayuk. It is a pleasure to have you in the program today. And on this day, we have as guest drum beats.
So, good afternoon, Dr. Mudu Belajalo, and thank you so much for accepting to be our first guest in this podcast. And hello, listeners, following our program. So, Sickle Cell Mentors is a podcast that was created from the need to create a platform where persons living with sickle cell disease could connect, could learn from the guest of the day, and be encouraged, be mentored directly or indirectly, and also have that inclination to reconnect, maybe on a one-to-one with our guest of the day, to learn from them and to use what they've learned to improve on their lives and their experience, their lived-in experience with sickle cell disease. It's not only for patients. We encourage all caregivers to also follow, because it's in sharing stories and in mentoring that we learn new things, not just about ourselves as warriors, but also those we care for as caregivers for persons living with sickle cell disease. So good afternoon once more, Dr. Mudu Belajalo. And thank you for joining us in this very first edition of Sickle Cell Mentors.
Thank you very much, Ayuk. It is a pleasure, and thank you for having me on your first edition. So I would just like to say that it is really a great honor to be on this platform. Just to give a brief introduction of myself. First, I'm a loving husband and a father, a beautiful daughter. Then I'm a doctor also by profession with 9 years experience, and currently doing my residency training in hematology and blood transfusion in Tanzania, Muhimbili. So I'm a Gambian by nationality, and employed with the main teaching hospital in the Gambia. So I'm also a chief nurse 2019-2020, which is the British prestigious scholarship, which I won, and through that I was able to do a master's degree in hematology. I also serve as a board member of the Gambia Sickle Cell Association. So briefly, this is me in short.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jalo. You just skipped to the first question, presenting yourself. So thank you. That's impressive. I didn't know you achieved now. Whoa. I actually worked for Promote Achieving Scholarship for 9 years.
Oh, wow.
With the British Embassy or British High Commission in Cameroon. So it's good to be interviewing a chief now. So thank you so much for presenting yourself, and what an impressive background. And so Dr. Jallo, we see all of these merits you have, a father, a board member, a chiefner, a medical doctor. It's not an easy feat. So could you just let us know, what is your relationship with sickle cell disease, and how has it been having all of these multiple facets of you, and then with sickle cell disease?
I would say it is not been, a smooth ride. It's been a bumpy ride here and there. As I am the only one in my family with the condition. So, and the other thing is also that, usually people are diagnosed with the condition very early when they are just, as a young child. For me, it was in the case because I got diagnosed very late in my teens, around 17 years. So because of this, it was a bit difficult. Here and there, you get sick, but for some reason, people don't know what is the problem. And one of the other challenges is also most of the time I get sick is have to occur around when I am having my exams. So, because I guess looking on the high side now, it's related with the stress of exams and, pushing yourself extra. So I would have crisis. So, but we thank God at least at the end of the day, the goal we set out for, we were able to achieve it, and we hope to continue doing our best and taking care of ourselves to achieve thing that we are set out for here, and that is to become a specialist in hematology.
Okay, so it has been a bumpy ride growing up. Stigma is one of those areas in sickle cell disease, especially for persons living with it, where patients face a lot of stigma, or even those people who care for patients. What has been your experience with stigma over the years?
So, fortunately for me, I have not had significant experience when it comes to this stigma. I guess it's partly because of having a wonderful and supporting family and friends around me. And the only thing that once in a while you hear when I was a bit younger was, in the eyes of your family members or relatives, you are the one that is identified as prone to sickness, child of the family, and, because of that, there are some activities that they don't want you to take part in because they know it's just a matter of time, then you get sick. So apart from that, I think I've not had much issues with regards to stigma or discrimination.
Okay, so diagnosed way later at 17, and then some stigma. Well, not really much, but did this feeling of, okay, he's always going to be sick, so he shouldn't do this or he shouldn't do that, did that stop you or deter you from being who you are now or who you wanted to be? And how did you react to that?
So, yes, that is very important because, once I got diagnosed at 17, I was already in high school. Yeah. So, one thing I've always wanted to study was science, but when I was in high school, I had to do 4 years in high school because of me, not because I failed, but because I wanted to do this science, which will give me the opportunity to do medicine. So some of the adjustment that I needed to do after knowing my condition was starting to research about the disease, and then knowing the things that, if you do them, the risk of you getting sick is very, very high. So, I
Okay.
myself, as a teenager, I started to become more responsible of my health,
Mm-hmm.
because I see the consequences when I get sick. It's, I may be the one sick, but then the family is affected. I will interrupt my mother's schedule, my father's schedule, and my siblings and all that. So all these things coming together, kind of make me somebody who is very responsible from that early age. And with all this coming together, I just continue to be very focused on some of the things that I need, and knowing also my limitations, or what are some of the things that I should do that will, in the long run, make me reach my goal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Also having the back of my mind that this is not a race. You may start the training,
Yeah.
or I may have had classmates whom finish high school in 3 years, and I finish it in 4 years. So in the eye of some people, they will think it's because you fail, most likely you get repeated and all those things. But all those are negative thoughts that shouldn't deter you from going in for the things that you want.
So you already knew you had this inclination for the sciences, but did that make you want to be the medical doctor you are now?
Yes. Um, I was a very curious kid. When we were young, especially Tobaski, when they slaughter the ram, looking at those internal organs, I used to be very curious. What is this? Especially the kidney, the liver, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So that curiosity have been there. So I think getting to know sickle cell, it was like a fuel, added to the already existing fire. So from there, the option was like, if not medicine, it have to be medicine. I remember once applying for the presidential scholarship in Venezuela, in which they asked me, what is your first option? I said medicine. They said second option. I said medicine. And my friend was like, are you mad? I said, no, if they don't take the first option, they may take the second one. So from that point, I was just like, it's either medicine or nothing. So unfortunately for me, God answered my prayers, and I guess He already prepared me um, before giving me also the profession.
Oh, that's really remarkable. So now you are a medical doctor and you've been practicing for quite a long time. So we know what it is to be a medical doctor, 7 years sometimes or even longer. How did you manage that? At the same time dealing with being a warrior, dealing with not just being a warrior, but also dealing with life, because warriors are also persons with sickle cell disease have to they're just normal human beings. So how did you juggle all of that? School, the pressures of school, the pressures of living with sickle cell disease, and the pressures of just being a young man studying, and maybe even studying out of your home country.
So the first thing I would say is to have a very strong and positive mentality. You know, because everything starts within you. So if you're in your mind, you are sick, you are having doubts, everything that follows would be a bit blurred, right? So
Mm-hmm.
from the get go, I already know, okay, I've got this condition, it was inherited from my parents, I've already got it, and there is nothing that I can change. Why should I complain about what have already happened, which I cannot kind of change?
Mm-hmm.
Rather, I should focus on the things that are under my control, which is my studies, my making sure that I have less crises, trying to prevent, or avoid all these precipitating factors that will cause me to get sick. Because I believe it's only when you are healthy that you can study and, be a teenager doing whatever you want. After life, the second priority is having a good health. So because of all this, I had to now start figuring out what are some of the things that will give me a good health. Then the next thing is now, how do I make sure the time I am healthy, I will use my time wisely, studying, having good friends, visiting families. So you just have to have a very good strategy of balancing things, at the same time not pushing yourself too hard to a point that you get sick.
Yeah.
So because for us, when we get sick, it's different. Sometimes you may be hospitalized for a long time, and that excruciating pain that you experience is just painful. That the less of it you get, the better for anyone. Yeah. So even during med school or during my master's degree in the UK, I always know, identify, the things that I am able to do, and also make sure the people that I surround myself know that I have this condition and that there are things that I'm not capable of doing, even if they want me to do. And if I tell them, there is usually no problem, because people know that sickle cell is a genetic disease and it exists in the world. So you end up getting a tailored program when you are studying, which suits you, and through that you get the extra support that you need and the flexibility in the schedule to allow you to finish your training on time. And so these are basically some of the things I do. And also I make sure if I'm not working, that I give my time to family, to friends, try to impact on people's life also, by doing community service once every month.
Absolutely.
Or within the area that I live, when there is any gathering, we go and help. So these are some of the things that we do while we are healthy, because I believe at the end of the day, if you don't impact on people's lives, when it comes to the time that you need their help, also is sometimes a bit difficult, because people don't know you, don't see you around, and being isolated also makes the condition very worse, because you get depressed and all that. So one needs out.
Okay, so I get from you, I get from you, being able to bear all what comes with long studies and preparing for such a career as medicine. You learning your triggers, getting support, making your teaching staff to know about your condition, going out there and helping others and making friends so that you're not alone, and then learning to do things at your pace. That's really concrete advice that you're passing out there. If you were to mentor a young warrior who is dreaming about being a doctor, or getting into the sciences, if not only medicine, what would you tell them? What would you say?
So what I would tell them or do is basically to what have worked for me, which is having a positive mentality, very positive and strong mentality towards your condition, and also the things that you need to do. Every one of us have a purpose in this life, and we are built differently. So for me, what I will do is make the individual or the mentee understand, these are realities that exist, and these are the realities of sickle cell disease. If that
like mentee, if that mentee is some, let's say a kid who's been made to understand that because of sickle cell they can't go far. You know some of the feedback that warriors get, like you're sick, so you can go far in school or you can't do that. How would you help to unblock that?
This is what I'm saying. So the fact that you believe in those quotations that they're giving you, that's already impacted on your mentality. So which is wrong. So the first thing is to make sure that I build, or the individual should build, a very strong mentality in which you would be believing that I will do it until I fail. And if I fail, I'll try again. If I fail, I'll try. But just from the notion that you are not able to do, and you, because of that, you refuse to do it, you will never get the answer, were you able to do it or not. Yeah? So that is the first part of it. Now, the second part is also to know that every sickler, every warrior, the way the disease present is different. Some have a lot of crises, some have few crises. So based on that also, you may advise which carrier may suit their pattern of getting sick compared to some other who also have less crisis. Yeah. So the third on that is also to inquire whether that thing they want to do is something that they are very passionate about. If they are passionate about it, don't discourage them. Because for me, I believe if you make your passion, your profession, work become fun. Yeah. So if you are doing the thing you love, at the end of the day you enjoy it. But if you end up doing something that is not like you love it, but you are just there to do it, you will not be enjoying it. And these are things that are for long term. So it is good that the individual's passion is identified and then encouraged. You may not finish, when you want to do medicine, you may not finish in 7 years. But if you finish in 9 years, at the end of the day, you've realized your goal. So it should be a goal-oriented advice, that you don't have to push yourself to a point that you will say the people you started with who are not SS will finish every
Gone ahead.
Yes, and you also gonna finish in that timeline. It works for it did work for few, for some, but every warrior has a different story. So if my medical career is gonna take me 5 years and it's gonna take somebody else 7 years, what is important at the end of the day is that we all graduated, became a very good doctors, and we are saving lives. So for me, this is what I will advise the individual.
We will be right back after this break. Hello, have you ever heard about sickle cell disease? Are you a person living with sickle cell disease, or are you caring for someone living with sickle cell disease? Are you wondering how to go about doing this? Well, we may just be able to help you. Read our online magazine, So Just Be. So Just Be is a sickle cell lifestyle magazine in which we talk about everything that has to do with sickle cell. We talk about living with sickle cell as men or women. We talk about sickle cell complications, and we propose how to live with each of these complications and how to manage it to the best of your abilities. We bring in our doctors to give us advice. We speak about the best kinds of food to eat for our little ones. We speak about love, and we speak about faith in sickle cell disease. We educate the younger ones, and of course, we talk travel. Are you somebody who is a fashionista? Come and read our fashion pages and learn how to dress chic but still keeping warm and keeping yourself healthy and protected so as not to get a sickle cell crisis. Read us on our pages on Cameo. Follow us online. We are Soldiers B, and you can find us on Instagram, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn. Read our pages now. Read So Just Be. Hello again, and thank you for joining us. We hope you did enjoy the little break, and we continue with our guest of the day. Thank you once again for joining us.
Very, very great advice you've given there. Building a strong mental, being passionate, and learning to know that it's not a race. So each person has a tailored story, and
Yeah.
they should take whatever commitment they want to do, or whatever initiative or project they have, and carry it on at their own pace. At their own pace. Yeah, that's very important. Okay, Dr. Jallo, you have been working as a doctor, but from your introduction, we also got the advocacy part, where you're a board member, and then you are a father, you are a husband, and then of course you're also a devout Muslim. I take it from your origins. How have you been able to juggle that? Because it's still a feat for a lot of people in the sickle cell space, being able to have a full career and different other side activities, and then family life, and then religion. So how have you been doing all of that?
So no, faith is something that is part of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So each and every one of us believe in something. We have religions. So for me, as a Muslim, there are some things that we have to do as a Muslim. So regardless of whether you are sick with sickle cell or not sick with sickle cell, you just have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So and the other aspect of it is it also helps you in having a very stable mind. It's like it strengthens your spirit within, because
Okay.
as Muslim, we there's one of the faith that in which you believe, we believe in qadar, and qadar is something that is predestined.
Yeah.
So whatever happens to you was meant to happen to you. Whatever doesn't happen to you was not supposed to happen to you. So things like this, you now understand that, okay, this was meant to happen to me, and it have already happened to me. Um, so what we do to the best of our ability, in my case, so the weather changes. If you are in a cold environment, we perform ablution. You make sure you use, cold warm
One
water.
more time.
If the place is very cold, let's say you are going in the morning prayers, you put on jacket. Let's say if the mosque there is an AC, you try to avoid it, or all those things that may
The
precipitate
crisis.
getting crisis. You try to avoid it. If the place is very warm,
Sorry.
you put on light clothes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and also be rehydrating yourself. These are some of the things that you will do. And
Mm-hmm.
also for family, family support. What I always believe in, if you get sick, you know, it's your family that is there. You may have doctors, you may have friends and all that, but your family at the end of the day, they are the one, they are your backbone. So you just have to find a way, to always give time to family. And also the profession, you also have to balance. When you're at work, but when you are not at work also, and you can, from your free time, you can also impact on other people's life, even though not being just saying you are a medic, you cannot take part in community services. It doesn't make sense. If there is a tree planting activity, you take part. If there is a fundraising, or if there if there is a blood drive, you go and take part.
Mm-hmm.
With this, you get to meet different people, and you get to learn from people. And this makes you somebody who is very open-minded, and you become better. Yeah.
So, Dr. Jallo, have you, being a Muslim, have you gone on pilgrimage?
Yes, Alhamdulillah, I've been blessed to go to Mecca as one of the doctors to escort the pilgrims.
So how was this experience? How did you? I know from speaking to friends and acquaintances who have gone, that we always get that information, like it's a challenging thing. You going there on a double phase, personal and professional, and being a warrior at the same time. How was the experience for you?
The Arabian weather is warmer compared to Gambia. So
Mm-hmm.
the secret is just to be strategic.
Okay.
So because you are there to do a job, and also you wish to make best use of the trip as possible. So what I did because the weather was very hot and warmer, so I avoided going prayers that are within during when the sunlight is out. Let's say the
Mm-hmm.
Zuhur, sir. So I make best use of the prayers that are the early morning or also the night prayers, and going around the Kaaba also is best to do it just before Fajr.
Mm-hmm.
That is early morning prayers. You do it, you finish by the time the sun is already out, you are already back. So and also to understand that the Hajj is the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
But as a medic or as a pilgrim, sometimes you reach there 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the Hajj, and you get exhausted before the actual uh, reason for you being in Saudi Arabia, which is the Hajj. Those exhausting 5 days, you've
Mm-hmm.
already exhausted yourself before those days. So you have to I have to adjust myself and say, okay, the main goal is to have those prescribed further, which is the Hajj, and then any other thing that adds to it, I'm fine. And also to understand that taking care of the pilgrims, is also part of the worship altogether. But it is worthwhile.
So key thing we learned there, being strategic, all over, being strategic. So learning how to know when to do what and doing it per your strength. Dr. Jallo, we are in the month of May, and we just celebrated International Labor Day, and career development and SCD have always been like two things that don't match, maybe because of the intensity of this red blood disorder. Now, if you were to speak to young warriors or even older persons with sickle cell disease, what would you say they should look, or how would you say they should approach career as somebody who's been into a constant a career path and who has grown over the years?
So this is where mentorship is very important. Unfortunately for me, it is one of the things I could say I didn't have growing up. So that is why as a person, I am always ready to share the little experience I have. So that being the case, what I will advise the individual or what I will tell them is choosing a career is like you are choosing something that is not short term. It's a long term plan, and that long term plan have an initial, middle, and last, which is the end. So now, as a young guy, when I was in high school, I knew I needed sciences to do medicine, then whatever comes ahead. So the mentoring for young warriors for careers should begin by the time they are going to high school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because there are some careers, there are some courses that you need to do in high school, which will be preparing you for the future career. So we should start mentoring young children, young teenagers in junior school, having them understand what are some of the careers that they are able to do, that they are able to also impact on. But the bottom line is, let them identify their passion first. What you are passionate about, then if we identify that thing and then we see that it is something that is not compatible with your health. Let's say I say I want to be a footballer. I love football, but the thing is, in reality, my health doesn't allow me to be somebody who can do physical sport. But if I'm still passionate about football, so the football doesn't end in the pitch.
Yeah.
So you have to now tailor it to, okay, somebody loves football. He could be a sport journalist. He could be somebody on the bench as a technical staff. He could be somebody who is working as management as part of the stadium, or So you start advising these young people to not just see. It's like theater. If you just say you want to be the actor and you forget about the camera crew, it becomes, even though they don't appear on the movie. So, but they are part of the team. So you sometimes have to choose. If the spotlight, you cannot be on the spotlight, be those people that are behind the scenes, moving the pieces. At the end of the day, development is a whole thing that there will always be people that are seen in the forefront and the people that are behind the scenes making things happen.
So thank you so much, Dr. Jallo, for being in this first edition of the program. Before we let you go, I have one last question for you. So you've had this very rich experience, and you grew up being told, or not really having stigma, but some kind of always being protected for fear of getting sick. So, is there something crazy that you've ever done? Tell us one thing that you've ever done, even with SCD posing a risk.
Yes.
A daring thing.
Okay. Okay. Wow. So, this was in 2018, right? So, what happened? I went to attend a conference in the US. So, but I went there around October, and then I was like, I really want to experience winter, and I kind of stayed a bit longer to wait for winter to come. So, but I was in the south, and the south doesn't snow that fast, so I made my way up the north, just to experience firsthand snow. I was there for some time. I remember it was snowing very bad, and I went out to the snow, excited, and some of my friends were calling me saying, cold is not good for you. I'm like, I know what, I wanted to have this experience too. I was lucky nothing happened, but at least I get to have fun. So that was, I think, one of the stupid things I did.
Okay, that's really interesting. But we will not encourage anybody to do that, except they're very sure that they can pull that off.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Dr. Jamil, for accepting to talk to us in this very first edition of Sickle Cell Mentors.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So we wish you a very great day. We thank you, our listeners, for being there with us. It was our very first edition of Sickle Cell Mentors with Dr. Mudu Bella Jallo, who is a hematologist, a medical expert, a sickle cell warrior too, and who has had a vast experience in his career and also in sickle cell advocacy. And it was a great pleasure having to talk to you. Join us for our next edition with another expert who is going to be giving us tips on living with sickle cell and also being a professional in the different spheres of life. We thank you so much for joining us and see you next time. Bye-bye.
My